There is a food sitting in your refrigerator right now that you almost certainly believe is one of the healthiest things you can eat after 60. A food that your doctor has probably encouraged you to consume more of. A food that fills the grocery aisles labeled with words like clean, natural, and heart healthy. A food that nutrition columns and wellness blogs and your own friends recommend to you as part of taking good care of yourself as you age. And it is destroying your kidneys. Not over a single meal, not in a way you can feel directly, but quietly, consistently, and measurably over months and years in adults over 60 whose kidneys are already experiencing the natural functional decline that comes with age. The damage is real. The mechanism is well documented, and the most concerning part is that almost nobody is talking about it directly enough for the people who need to hear it to actually change anything. I am going to tell you what the food is. I am going to explain exactly why it is so harmful to aging kidneys specifically, and I am going to give you the alternatives that deliver the same nutritional benefits without the kidney cost. By the end of this video, you will understand something fundamental about aging kidney physiology that almost no nutrition advice for seniors ever explains clearly. And you will be in a position to make a single change in your diet starting tomorrow that may protect your kidney function for the rest of your life. My name is Dr. Calvin Hayes. I am a nephrologist and cardiologist with over 20 years of clinical experience working exclusively with adults over the age of 60. Kidney disease is one of the most underdiagnosed and most slowly developing conditions I treat in my practice. By the time most patients are diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, they have lost a significant portion of their kidney function silently over years without symptoms. And in the majority of cases that I trace back through careful dietary history, there is a single dietary pattern that has been quietly contributing to that decline. A pattern that almost universally involves a food category that most seniors consume every day believing it is helping them. Stay with me through the full mechanism because the food I am revealing is going to surprise you. And the explanation of why it matters specifically to aging kidneys is going to change how you read nutrition labels for the rest of your life. Do not skip ahead. The context I build through the first half of this video is what makes the revelation in the second half land the way it needs to. The myth I am here to dismantle is this. Lean protein, particularly in the form of protein shakes, protein bars, protein powders, and the high-protein lean meat-dominated diet pattern, is universally healthy for adults over 60 and is essential for maintaining muscle mass and preventing the sarcopenia, or muscle loss, associated with aging. You have heard this. Your doctor may have specifically encouraged you to increase your protein intake. The fitness and nutrition industries have built enormous segments of their business around protein consumption for older adults, and the underlying concern about sarcopenia is real and clinically significant. Muscle loss in aging adults contributes to falls, frailty, metabolic dysfunction, and reduced quality of life. Adequate protein intake is genuinely important, but the way that adequate protein has been translated into commercial products and dietary patterns for seniors is where the problem emerges. Because there is a profound difference between adequate dietary protein from whole food sources and the high concentration protein supplementation that has become a routine part of many senior diets. And the kidneys are the organ system that experiences that difference most acutely. I need to give you a brief but precise lesson on how aging kidneys actually function so that the rest of what I tell you lands with the clinical weight it deserves. Your kidneys are filtering organs. They filter your entire blood volume approximately every 5 minutes, removing waste products from cellular metabolism, regulating fluid balance, controlling electrolyte concentrations, and maintaining the acid-base balance of your blood. They accomplish this through millions of tiny filtering units called nephrons. Each kidney contains approximately 1 million nephrons at birth. And here is the critical fact that changes everything about this conversation. After approximately age 40, the human body loses kidney nephrons at a measurable rate that increases with each subsequent decade. By age 60, most adults have lost a significant portion of their original nephron count. By age 70, that loss is even more pronounced. And by age 80, the average adult has approximately half the functional nephron capacity they had in young adulthood. This is normal aging. It is not pathological. It is not a disease. It is the natural trajectory of kidney function in humans. But it has profound implications for how aging kidneys respond to dietary stress that younger kidneys could easily manage. The remaining nephrons in an aging kidney are working harder than they did decades earlier because there are fewer of them filtering the same blood volume. They have less reserve capacity. They are more vulnerable to additional stressors, and they are more susceptible to acceleration of decline when subjected to dietary inputs that demand significantly increased filtration work. The single most demanding category of dietary input on the filtration capacity of the kidneys is protein. Specifically, the nitrogen waste products that are produced when your body metabolizes dietary protein. These waste products, particularly urea, must be filtered out of the blood by the kidneys and excreted in the urine. Higher protein intake means more nitrogen waste, means more filtration work, means more demand on the remaining nephrons of an aging kidney. For decades, the nutritional advice given to older adults has emphasized protein consumption based on research conducted predominantly in younger and middle-aged populations whose kidney reserve is significantly greater. The application of that advice to adults over 60 without accounting for the natural decline in kidney filtration capacity has produced a situation where many seniors are consuming protein loads that their kidneys cannot manage without measurable cost to their long-term function. And then commercial protein supplementation entered the picture and made the situation significantly worse. Protein shakes, protein bars, protein powders, protein supplements, high-protein lean meat-dominated meal plans. These are now consumed routinely by seniors who have been told that protein is essential to their health and who interpret that message to mean that more is better. The reality is that more is significantly worse when more means concentrated commercial protein products consumed beyond what aging kidneys can comfortably manage. A landmark study published in the journal Nephrology Dialysis Transplantation followed adults over 60 for a decade and analyzed the relationship between protein intake and kidney function decline. The results showed that adults consuming protein significantly above their actual physiological need showed a measurably faster rate of decline in their estimated glomerular filtration rate, which is the standard clinical measure of kidney function, compared to those whose intake was in the moderate range. The acceleration of kidney function decline was particularly pronounced in adults whose protein intake came predominantly from concentrated commercial sources rather than whole foods. Now I want to address something directly because I know this is the moment in this video where some of you are pushing back. You are thinking that you have been told for years that protein is essential, that sarcopenia is real, that older adults need more protein, not less, and you are not wrong about any of that. Sarcopenia is real, protein is essential, older adults do need adequate protein. The distinction that matters is between adequate protein from whole food sources distributed throughout the day and excessive concentrated commercial protein supplementation. Adequate is sufficient. Excessive accelerates kidney decline without proportionally improving muscle protein synthesis. The body has a ceiling on how much protein it can usefully incorporate into muscle tissue at any given time, but a protein consumed beyond that ceiling is simply converted to nitrogen waste that your kidneys must filter and excrete. I want to tell you about a patient named Bernard, 74 years old, retired engineer, came to me with elevated creatinine levels that his primary care doctor was concerned about. Bernard had no diabetes, his blood pressure was well managed, he had no obvious risk factors for kidney disease. When I did a detailed dietary inventory, the picture became clear quickly. Bernard had been drinking 2 protein shakes daily for the past 3 years. He had also been eating large quantities of lean chicken breast and lean ground turkey at most meals. He had been told by a wellness magazine article he had read several years earlier that older adults needed approximately twice the protein of younger adults to prevent muscle loss. He had taken that advice seriously and implemented it diligently. His total daily protein intake was approximately 200 grams. For a man his weight, the appropriate range was closer to 90 to 100 grams. He had been consuming approximately twice what his kidneys could comfortably manage for 3 consecutive years, and his creatinine reflected exactly what that pattern had been doing to his filtration capacity. We made adjustments, we reduced his protein intake to an appropriate level for his weight and age, we shifted his protein sources predominantly to whole foods including fish, eggs, dairy, and legumes, rather than concentrated commercial products. We eliminated the protein shakes entirely, and we monitored his kidney function carefully over the subsequent year. Bernard's creatinine stabilized. His kidney function decline halted. The damage that had occurred over the previous 3 years did not reverse. Kidney tissue does not regenerate the way some other tissues do, but the trajectory changed, And Bernard told me he wished someone had explained protein in kidneys to him before he started the regimen, not after he had already done 3 years of measurable damage. I am explaining it to you now, so that you do not become Bernard. Here is what adequate protein for an adult over 60 actually looks like. The general recommendation is approximately 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, distributed across 3 meals rather than concentrated in 1 or 2 protein-heavy meals. For a person weighing 70 kilograms or approximately 154 pounds, that translates to roughly 70 to 80 grams of protein daily. For a person weighing 80 kilograms or approximately 175 pounds, it is roughly 80 to 95 grams. For a person weighing 90 kilograms or approximately 198 pounds, it is roughly 90 to 105 grams. These numbers are total dietary protein, not protein from supplements specifically. They include the protein in your eggs, your fish, your chicken, your dairy, your legumes, your nuts, and yes, the protein in whole food sources that you eat throughout the day. When you actually add up the protein content of your meals using a nutrition tracker for even a few days, you will discover that achieving adequate protein intake from whole foods is much easier than the protein supplement industry has led you to believe. A single egg contains 6 grams of protein. A serving of Greek yogurt contains 15 to 20 grams. A serving of salmon contains 25 to 30 grams. A serving of beans contains 15 grams. Most adults over 60 can reach their full adequate protein target through 3 regular meals of whole foods without ever touching a protein supplement. Now let me tell you what to do with this information specifically. The change I want you to make is not to eliminate protein. It is to fundamentally reorganize where your protein comes from. Remove or significantly reduce concentrated commercial protein supplements, including protein shakes, protein powders, protein bars, and high-protein supplement drinks. Get your protein instead from whole food sources distributed across your meals. Include a variety of sources including fish, particularly fatty cold water fish, eggs, dairy with live cultures, legumes including lentils and beans, nuts, and moderate amounts of poultry. Reduce the volume of lean meat consumption to appropriate portions rather than the oversized servings that protein-focused dietary patterns often recommend. And ensure adequate hydration throughout the day, because hydrated kidneys filter more efficiently than dehydrated kidneys regardless of protein load. If you are currently consuming protein supplements daily and you are over 60, I am asking you to seriously evaluate whether you need them. In most cases, the answer is no. In rare cases, particularly for adults recovering from surgery, illness, or significant unintended weight loss, supplementation may be clinically appropriate. But that determination should be made with your physician based on your specific situation, not adopted as a default routine based on general wellness messaging. There is one additional layer to this that I want to mention because it matters significantly. The same kidneys that are filtering protein waste are also responsible for filtering medications. Adults over 60 take significantly more medications on average than younger adults, and many of those medications are themselves processed by the kidneys. When your kidneys are already working harder than they should to manage excessive protein intake, they have less capacity to process medications efficiently, which can lead to medication accumulation, increased side effects, and complications that nobody attributes back to the underlying dietary contribution. Bernard's medications had to be adjusted during his treatment because his kidney function had been compromised. Some of his blood pressure medications required dose modification specifically because of the reduced filtration capacity. This kind of cascading effect, where excessive protein consumption silently affects medication management, is one of the most under-recognized aspects of this entire conversation. The food I revealed today, concentrated commercial protein supplementation, has built an enormous commercial market around the premise that more protein is better, particularly for adults over 60. The kidney physiology of aging tells a completely different story. And the gap between what the marketing claims and what the kidneys can actually manage is where the silent damage occurs. You now know what most seniors do not. The next decision is yours. Which protein supplements or high-protein products are currently part of your routine? And what whole food protein sources are you planning to lean on more starting tomorrow? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Your honest answer might be exactly what someone else needs to look at their own kitchen, their own protein shake, and their own daily protein habit with the same clinical lens. Please share this video with someone over 60 who consumes protein shakes daily, eats large quantities of lean meat at most meals, or has been told they need to dramatically increase their protein intake. Because this is the kind of information that protects the long-term function of an organ system most people do not think about until something is wrong. And subscribe because my next video addresses the other major dietary contributor to kidney decline in adults over 60 that almost nobody is talking about. Specifically, the everyday medications that are silently impairing kidney filtration in seniors who take them as recommended. You are going to want to see that one.